This podcast episode is made possible by wowdigital.com, your trusted partner for nonprofit and charity website and design. Welcome to the 100th episode of the Nonprofit Digital Success Podcast. We did record this before, and it was so great, we actually split it into two parts. This is part number 2. Welcome to the Nonprofit Digital Success Podcast. I'm your host, David, and in this very special episode, the 100th episode, we're going to be talking about all kinds of neat, interesting background things over here at Wow Digital in the podcast. I've got two key players with me here today from my team at Wow Digital, Daniel, and I have AJ, and he's got over a decade of experience. AJ excels in digital production for online marketing, corporate events, and individual projects. All right, so AJ, we haven't really spoken with you yet on the episode. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Cool. So nonprofit space can be pretty niche when you're dealing online. You've got a huge background, all kinds of various work and stuff. And I know you went back to school not that long ago for your Master's of Philosophy, right?
Right.
Okay. So in terms of the sector, what have you noticed about how the online content and social media makes it different? It might be for, let's say, somebody that's an online shop trying to sell shoes or social media influencers.
Totally, yeah. There are actually a few differences that I'd love to point out. If I have to make a short list, I'd make 3. I'd say that there's a greater need for authenticity actually for nonprofits than it might be for a for-profit organization that's giving you shoes, as you mentioned. Secondly, that it has to include the social media now, not just your actual organization office. Thirdly, it's that it has to be good. So I want to explain a little bit of each of these things and why I'm saying that. Firstly, why it has to be actually more important for a nonprofit to have authenticity than somebody selling you shoes is because of these for-profit organizations, you actually get the exchange in your hand, like you get the product in your hand, or you experience the movie yourself, so you know where the money is going. Basically, it's not a scam. At least you get to know if it's a scam or not. And I think we kind of tiptoe around this conversation, but it's one of the main issues that could hold somebody back from actually giving another person funding, giving them money. Do you know where it's really going? And with for-profit organizations, you get that review right there immediately. You know this is what it went to. Was it worth it or not? But with nonprofit organizations, you are not necessarily getting that back. So it's way more important that you can convey that you are legitimate, that you do have authenticity, and that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. So you share those stories of impact. You actually explain to your donors or to your funders that this money is going to this outcome. So this is how you can review the quality of the impact that your dollars are going towards. And for that second point, it's kind of what Daniel touched upon earlier. I like to tell people, when it comes to a scam, if you go to a person's office and it's just a kind of empty factory back room with just like paper sprawled all over the place, you'd be like, this is a scam. Nowadays, it's the same thing with a website because your website is your office in the digital world. And if you go to somebody's website and it looks trash, you're going to think, this is not legitimate. I don't really trust this. It's maybe a scam. So you got to have a good website in the same way you have to have a legitimate office kind of space. Nowadays, there's another step though. It didn't just go from an office to a website. It also went from your website to having some presence on some kind of social media, because now the search online isn't just to search for your website, but to search for your social media platform and see the kind of content that you're putting out. So if you're putting out just complete trash or just nonsense that anybody could put out, it could really prevent anybody from really trusting your organization. So all of these things really have to tie in together. So it's not just, a for-profit organization that wants to have social media and make more sales, but even if you're a nonprofit organization or charity that's even looking for funding from a government, you're not necessarily looking to get more small dollar donors, but you still need to convey that legitimacy to gain some of that funding, whether it's a donation from the small dollars or it's a grant from a larger organization.
Yeah, I think there's 2 points in there. I made some notes as you were chatting, AJ, is transparency. We need to be open and honest in where the money is going. I think there have been a number of scandals over the last few years around charities and whatnot. And, where is the money actually going? I don't think anybody expects 100% of the donation to be going to fight the cause. There are overhead costs with running an organization, just like there are with running a business. Whether it's software, licensing, you need a new computer, you have office employees, you have people in your team that you're paying, executive directors, whoever, right? Just be open and honest about it and be like, look, there's 18% of your donation is going towards overhead, and this is what the overhead does. It helps drive the organization forward. It helps create new corporate sponsorships to bring in more money, whatever it happens to be. So that's the first point. The second thing is branding. Branding, a lot of people think about is the logo and the colors, but there's more to branding than that. There's the voice, the tone, the style of the messaging itself, and that needs to also be authentic, but also carry through everything. So if you have a podcast, if you have a website, if you have ads that you're running, if you have social media posts that you're doing, you need to have it follow and flow through everything cohesively. So if you have a brand guide, awesome. I would bet lots of money that your brand guide doesn't include anything around messaging, tone, style, etc. Add that into there. Make a content brand guide or an addendum to your existing one that covers that type of thing, because that will help you and the folks in your team put out messaging that is more closely aligned.
Absolutely. I'd love to add to that. It's a very good thing to know when you are, as Daniel mentioned, when you're small and you might have a good need to work with vendors that they give you something like a brand guide. When you work with an organization like Wow Digital or another legitimate organization that's making social media for you or something like that, they do verify you. There's a process. You have to give credit cards. You have to give a verification whether you have your 501c3. These kind of things make it harder for cons to happen. So when you're working with vendors that are legitimate, it's more likely that you will have high quality websites, high quality social media, a brand guide that actually carries a message all the way through, where all these kind of cheaper or more available people who are just going to do the work and then run away because they don't need your information or to verify anything about you, they're not going to be able to produce that level of quality. So when you're a donor or someone else and you're seeing the quality in the website and in their organization and in their social media, it's far less likely that they're just going to try to run away, because it's not going to be very easy for them to do so.
Yeah, and quality doesn't always mean expensive. From our side, we've done projects that are $5,000-$6,000 up to, $150,000 or more multi-year span projects. Just because you need something doesn't mean you have to go all out. Yeah, you can go on Fiverr and you can hire somebody for a couple $100, but the reality of doing that is it's probably not going to serve you in the long run, or at least be strategic in the approach. It's just, all right, I need somebody to do this. Most organizations need the strategy behind it. We're happy to build the strategy for you if you want to get in touch with us. Like I said before, wowdigital.com/consult. Shameless plug. So, get in touch with us. If all you need is strategy, cool. We'll do that. We'll meet with you and we'll get you set in the right path. All right. So AJ, you do a lot of the editing and content creation yourself. You're kind of the person behind the podcast that's making me look and our guests look super awesome on the episodes. Is there anything that you would advise nonprofits when it comes to making content or working with an editor such as yourself?
Well, firstly, I'd love to say that we have superpowers. Okay, so maybe you can't see that, but I can see that in the future where I can put in effects. But more importantly, on that kind of note is, yeah, it is a sort of superpower. Kind of like you mentioned, we actually do a lot of work to make messaging better. We can shorten the gap in between thoughts or in between words. We can remove misspoken words, even if sometimes you might have meant to say something in the plural, but didn't put that S. We can actually find the S from another part of something that you said that did have an S and a plural and put it in there as if you said it correctly. So we can make people or speakers sound more coherent and more clear in their messaging, which helps a lot, not just because you're trying to make them sound more intelligent and impressive, but it's more so about the audience that can have something that's consumable and easy to hear. They don't mind if there's a little bit of editing here and there that's made for their purposes of just getting what the message is. So editors really do help with that, but there's always going to be this kind of notion that, a professional editor, are we editing things, something spooky is happening here. It's not spooky. It's just to help clarify the message and make sure the content that you're making has the most impact, because it will reach that. When you can get that kind of editing, professional editing done, or just in general editing, it makes a big difference to how consumable your message of impact even is. So another thing about that I'd like to say is that your editors give you probably the best feedback you'll ever get. They're like your audience, but they're number one audience. I watch David so many times. I don't just watch him once in the raw. Like, I get get a behind the scenes look at what David's saying and doing and how he's behaving. And then I have to watch it again when I edit it. Then I hear it again when I edit the audio. And then I have to watch it again when I'm putting it into the effects work. So I kind of watch an episode at least 3 times, a fourth time too if I'm reviewing my own work. But I watch it enough that I really do kind of develop what we call a para relationship now. Para relationship usually is when if you have a YouTuber or somebody that you consume their media like on the daily, you begin to feel like they're a friend, but they don't really know who you are. So it's kind of interesting with David though, because he knows me as the editor and you might know your editor, you can have this kind of understanding relationship with him where with David, he might in middle of a video start talking to me like, hey AJ, do this, do XYZ. And I'll be like, right, yeah, sure, David, as if he could hear me back, but he can't. But it's still fun. So there's something really important about the kind of feedback that you can get from an editor also, which you probably couldn't get from anyone else because they basically study you. Like I can't tell you how many times I've heard about the no like trust factor or a number of the other things that David are like his key touch things that he espouses in his messaging, which I'm like really intimate with because I watch it so many times. So feedback you can get from an editor is invaluable, I think.
I think that's AJ's subtle way of kind of telling me off to improve my like speech and pattern and talking so he doesn't have to work as hard on the back end to edit me.
It does help. It makes a difference.
It does.
Yeah, I
It
think so.
really does. So AJ, thank you. 100 episodes deep on this and, making me and our guests on the show really kind of stand out and showcase our expertise in a way that is more concise because you can cut out these lengthy pauses that I'm doing right now. So we'll see how that goes when you edit this one also. Okay, so I understand I'm a little nervous about this, but that you've got some outtakes, bloopers, and things that you wanted our audience to see.
Well, as Daniel was talking about, a kind of internal community culture, and one of the things I get to do with WoW Digital is share that kind of pair relationship as if it's a show. So here's one example of it that we'll show in NPDS. We'll watch it now.
Sorry. We can start that one again.
All right, AJ, cut. Round running.
Awesome.
Here we go. So all is good here, and I think all the levels are good and everything. I can hear you clearly. Hopefully, AJ, my voice is clear too. But we'll find out when he gets this recording. So
You sound great.
You're good, David.
awesome. Here we go. By prioritizing data-driven privacy. No, what? That makes no sense. By prioritizing data privacy, nonprofit leaders can build trust with their audience and protect their organization's reputation. Some amazing insight. All right, AJ, cut that. So the other thing, what do I want to say here?
I'm sorry about that.
No worries. AJ will just cut that out.
Yeah,
There we
cut
go.
that out, AJ.
What? No. Only David gets to break the fourth wall. I'm just kidding.
Like
Okay.
I remember
let's find
we
a
picked
different
different
way.
parts. We picked different parts from each one. I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's rephrase this. Here we
Okay.
go. Take 2, AJ. Cut that out. Here we go. Yeah, I need one of the like Hollywood. What's it called?
It's Clapper.
Sandwich board, I think is what it's called. No, that's not it.
No.
A Clapper.
Anyway.
Whatever it is, that's okay.
Clapper. I think it is.
Maybe. All right, here we
create your expectations around your specific organization.
One of the things you meant. All right, that's something that we're gonna cut. All right. Here we go.
The number. Yeah,
Perfect.
no one ever says it right, so it's
All right,
totally
no
cool.
problem. We're gonna get it right. We're gonna get it right now. Here we go.
All right.
All right, AJ, don't include this when you do the cuts. All right.
I got you.
Okay.
Issues by giving them everything they need in advance.
I've got 2 things to add to that. I love it. Have guidelines. Even better than that is create some.
Sorry,
templates.
David.
Can't hear me. You can't hear me. Okay.
Your camera is stuck and there's just a green bubble in the middle of it.
All right,
yeah,
hold on.
that's okay.
Where did that come from?
It's an alien.
Whoa.
I have
Might
no
need-
idea. It's creepy. Every
All right,
single
hold on.
time we zoom, okay?
Every time. There
you
we
go,
go.
you're back.
Hey.
Export this evidence.
That was so bizarre.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you went
Okay.
like this and then it just like big green bubble over you. Really weird.
Weird. I don't know.
Odd.
I'm back, everybody. Okay, let's try that one more time.
Place this evidence into my top secret.
AJ, you can put that in like a cut reel or something like that.
All right.
So Abby, I've got
I'm sorry. I just lost my thread of thought.
no problem. AJ, cut this out when you do the editing.
Yeah, before you go back to the philosophy studies, we were discussing something earlier, and my brain needs to get it.
Find valuable. No, let's try that again. That was not good. Take two, AJ. All right. Here we go. Other organization who might find valuable. I keep saying valuable. All right, take three. Take three. Here we go. This is it.
You sure?
I'm gonna do it on this one.
Draw this.
And I got it.
Pitfalls up from like a DEI perspective, or just like being more of a human.
All right. So let's ask again. All right,
Okay,
AJ.
sorry.
You're gonna cut that like last 40 seconds. All right.
That was it. But there's some other ones. If we have other ones, we'll put them up on our website or on your YouTube so you can check them out. We'll put the link below so you can check out some other outtakes too. They're really fun.
Awesome. Thank you, AJ, for showcasing the reality of what happens. Awesome. So, Daniel, AJ, thank you so much for joining on episode 100. Let's see if the balloons will go. Are these balloons? No, fireworks. Okay,
Wow.
We're going to do some fireworks. There we go.
That's not me. I didn't do that.
No, that wasn't him. That was all Mac OS doing that effect there. But Daniel likes the laser lights better. So, we'll save that for another episode.
All right. Let's go.
Yeah.
Thank you, David, for having us.
I hope the folks listening have been able to take some of the insight around project management, how to deal with team, as well as some of the insights, AJ, from you around editing and ways to kind of think about the brand and the messaging.
Well, how about this? If anybody wants to see more of Daniel on the episode or more of himself, click the poll or whatever it is below. Give us a vote and let us know if you want to see us back on the show. That's going to be something on social media now.
I'm curious if you're interested in hearing more about how we deal with project management. We can have an episode talking specifically about our project management and how we do those type of things. Or if you want to find out more details specifically about the editing side of stuff, let us know. We want to get you the content that you're interested in. So let us know. We'll take the feedback and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
If anybody wants to get in touch with us, just head over to wowdigital.com/consult, or just go to our homepage, see what we've been up to. We've got some testimonials. We've got our blog. We've got our podcast on there. Head over to our podcast page at nonprofitdigitalsuccess.com. Click on this episode for all the details. We'll have some links and whatnot on the show notes page. And until next time, keep on being successful.